So I want to welcome us to our afternoon analysis session. Today is Tuesday, 4th of November, 2025. Now, we've had a lot of news events today, and for now, there's no other trading news events till 10 p.m., 10:45 p.m. later tonight. And I believe many of us may not be online trading that time. But then I will advise if you have any running trade at that period, make sure your trade is protected with a stop loss. Peradventure, you're a swing trader, make sure your trade is protected. But by 10:45 p.m., there'll be employment change and unemployment rate from New Zealand is coming up, and it's going to be a volatile news event. If you want to trade it however, that would be a good one. You can follow our guide. Now, we are not going to be online at that period, but then you can follow. If you've joined us to trade live sessions before, or you've attended our physical training session, or better still, there was a training I did last week on how to trade fundamental news. You can go and watch that video and use that information to trade the news by 10:45 p.m. later tonight. So for now, I'll just focus on the technicals. So I'm going over straight to the chart. So on the chart, the dollar index is trading around a resistance level on the daily time frame. That's the USDX. This is the dollar index on the daily time frame. And the price is moving just around this resistance level. Now, if price is unable to break out above that level, we expect, a reversal to the downside. So we're going to be having a bearish outlook on the dollar index. So with that in view, we can check an instrument like the USD Now, if you join my weekly outlook for the week yesterday, I said that I am holding a bearish outlook on the USD for this week. And these are my reasons. One, on the weekly time frame, USD is trending downwards. We have a downtrend, a series of lower highs on USD which will give us a bearish movement. And secondly, on the daily time frame, we also have price hitting a resistance level. So we have a resistance. Now, there is now a confluence between the resistance level and the descending trend line on the weekly time frame. So that makes that area a confluence point. And also we now have a rising wedge pattern. So technically, we're looking for a bearish movement on the USD And that is exactly the same thing that we saw on the dollar index. Now, between yesterday and today, there's been some bearish movement already on the USD Now, depending on the kind of trader that you are, you may look at trading this instrument. Now, if you're a day trader, I would rather advise you wait for price to retest the resistance zone before a further drop. Let me go down to the 1 hour so that I can explain this better. Our overall bias on the dollar is bearish, so USD is bearish. But then for you to trade USD wait for a retracement. We're seeing a completion of like a head and shoulder. Then further breakout is what you will likely trade when price breaks out below this recent low. But then if you're a swing trader, it's not yet time to take a trade. You still need to exercise some patience because for a swing trader, price still needs to break out below the lower trend line of this rising wedge before we see a much more massive breakout. But either way it goes, we still maintain our bearish outlook on the USD JPY. And the USD CHF, I'm also holding a bearish outlook on the USD CHF. The price is trading still around the resistance zone on the daily time frame. So we'll still look out for a possible reversal in price. So if you go down to the 4 hour, nothing is happening on the 4 hour. Then we'll go finally to the 1 hour time frame. On the 1 hour time frame, we have a rising wedge pattern. Now, price is also trying to form a shoulder, a head, possibly a second shoulder, and a breakout downwards. So that may be possible before the day runs out. So let's just watch it closely. Now, if price breaks out to the downside on the USD we'll need to wait for a confirmation of RSI below 50. So once price breaks out below the trend line, below this region, which will act as the neckline of the head and shoulder pattern, this is what I'm saying: shoulder, head, second shoulder, and a breakout downwards. Once we have a new candle breakout below this pattern with the RSI below 50, that will be a safe time to enter a sell on the the USD CHF, and that's a 1 hour, is an intraday. So we're bearish on the USD CHF. Now, gold is an instrument of interest for a lot of individuals. And we've been watching gold closely since yesterday. Recently, we've not had any geopolitical tension that could trigger gold. So gold currently is trading within a symmetrical triangle. And the rule around symmetrical triangle pattern is this: if price breaks out to the upside, we will be looking at taking a buy trade. If it breaks out to the downside, we're looking at taking a sell trade. So let's just watch as the market goes. Wherever the breakout happens, that will point us to the direction we are trading. So it's either a buy or sell depending on the breakout direction. That's for gold. Now, for those trading DJ30, or otherwise called US 30, that's the Dow Jones Industrial Index. Now, DJ30 experienced a sharp drop, to end last week, and even as the week commenced, the new week commenced yesterday, we still saw some bearish movement. But then price currently is trading around a previous resistance turned support. And not only that, the last 4 hour candle is a rejection candle. So that tells us that we may have a potential bullish movement on the DJ30. Now, if we swing down to the 1 hour time frame, we can see that the last set of candlesticks is giving us a kind of a reversal candlestick pattern. Not necessarily a tweezer bottom or a bullish engulfing, but that's just a reversal candlestick pattern. And let's take it out to 15 minutes time frame. So this is the 15 minutes version of this. We're seeing a falling wedge pattern, and price is just, RSI is just around 50. Let's say 49, not even up to 50. Now, I perceive price may want to retest the trend line, thereby forming an Evers head and shoulder before the breakout. So watch out closely, watch out DJ30 closely. We may see a retracement, price touching the trend line before a final breakout to the upside. So we maintain a bullish outlook on the DJ30. All right, that'll be all from my end this afternoon session. But then before I take on the questions, because I can see some of us dropping requests, I would also want to give us an update on the weekly outlook that we had yesterday morning. And my first update will be on the CAD JPY. I analyzed CAD JPY yesterday, and I said I held a bearish outlook on both the CAD JPY and the Euro JPY. CAD JPY is going exactly as the analysis. From the analysis we had yesterday morning, I mentioned that price, was at a resistance level on the weekly and the daily time frame, and that we're looking for a bearish breakout. That breakout already happened, and price is going exactly according to plan. And for Euro JPY, the same thing is happening on the Euro JPY. Also on 4 hour time frame, price already broke out. You can see the breakout candle, and we've seen price drop, in line of the analysis into the bearish direction. Also, GBP CHF was another instrument I analyzed yesterday morning. All right, for GBP CHF, I mentioned that I was holding a bullish outlook. Price did break out, just like I mentioned, but currently is undergoing a retracement. If you've joined my analysis or training session, I always mention it. You need to understand price characteristics. Entry was around this area. It broke up upwards, it's retracing. I'm still expecting a continuation to the upside on the GBP CHF. A lot of the other parameters were met. RSI moved clearly above 50, MACD also above zero. So we're already in the buy zone. Now, can you say enter a trade on the GBP CHF? Of course, but not in the immediate now. You need to wait for price to break above this recent high. So if you miss the opportunity of the early breakout yesterday, you can still wait for a new candle to open above. You wait for price to go up. Let me make it much more bold. All right. So you want to wait for price to break out above this area before you trigger, if you have not entered, to trigger a buy on the GBP CHF. So we're still bullish on the GBP CHF. Peradventure you've entered and it reaches, or you don't panic. I always tell you, don't always panic. You need to understand what the market is doing, and you can still ride the trend, especially in this kind of a case. Wait for price to break out above that region, then you can enter a buy if you are yet to enter. And I dropped a signal yesterday on the Euro GBP. That was before the breakout of the GBP CHF. If you're on that trade, there's nothing to panic about. We're still all good. All right, entry price was somewhere around here, and we've seen a retracement. Entry was somewhere around here yesterday. Now price has retraced. I can see it's already coming down. Now I tell you that it's going to come down with more volatility this time around because it's already forming a head and shoulder pattern, which will see to a further bearish breakout. If you missed the opportunity of yesterday and you've not entered, by the time price breaks out below this recent low, it will be another time to enter a sell. And peradventure you already are on a running trade and you feel like you want to add another trade to it, don't do more than one actually. Let price break out below that recent low before you enter another trade on the Euro GBP. So I'm still very much bearish on the Euro GBP. All right, that's all about the update. Somebody is asking me to check Euro USD. So let's check that. Don't forget we're bearish on the dollar. We're bearish on the USDX, that's the dollar index, bearish on the USDJPY, bearish on the USDCHF. And the Euro USD is negatively correlated to these assets. But then this is the Euro USD. You can see I have my analysis on it. It's currently in a downtrend. Euro USD is currently in a downtrend. And well, at the moment, RSI is just around the oversold level. Though it's at 31, but it may still approach 30. We may see a further drop on Euro USD, except market condition changes. But let me confirm if there is any support. There's actually a key level in the past where price has reacted. Okay, where price is now, there has been a reaction in the past, way back 2019 and 2021. Okay, because I can't find any support, any direct support. And price reacted even way back 2002 at this current price level. It's actually a point of interest over the years. Price has reacted at this particular level. So it can as well act as a support. It can act as a support. So it's possible we may experience some retracement at this point. We may experience at least some slight retracement on the Euro USD. at this point. That is not a signal. It's not a direct signal. It's just a possible market movement. For now, I'm not really seeing a direct signal on the Euro USD, but it's possible we may see some retracement on the Euro USD. Okay, Madam Onaji, GBP AUD. Yeah, I mentioned this yesterday also. For GBP AUD, price already broke out to the upside. But then with the kind of market not having sufficient volatility, to push price, we may experience some decline. But I still believe eventually to break out to the upside. Now you can see the last set of candles is a red candle. If price breaks out below that red candle, I mean that's this zone, if it breaks out below, price may return back to the support range a little before eventually breaking out to the upside. That is what I'm seeing may likely happen. So I mentioned yesterday, most of them are swing setup. Many of them from yesterday were not intraday. So patience is really a requirement for this kind of trades. You can see RSI has already crossed below 50 again. That does not mean it's a sell. It's just that a retracement. Now, this may now form a double bottom before finding its way up. So if you're on this GBP AUD, you need to exercise some caution and some patience. I believe with time it will still find its way up.
Because thank you very much, sir. Good afternoon. Thank you. I'm grateful. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, so you can see it's still uptrend on the weekly time frame at a support zone. So technically it will still go up, but it may require some patience. All right. I think I've attended GBP JPY from Maureen. Now, GBP JPY is trading around a previous a resistance turned support. You may be looking for some bullish movement, except if there's a volatility that breaks out to the downside, fine. But then technically, with the level where it is, we may be looking more for actually a retracement into the bullish direction. Ultimately, it may go to the bearish, but we might just experience some retracement before that bearish movement takes place. So let me go down to 4 hour. All right, this is a 1 hour. It's still within that support zone. We may be looking for some slight retracement. But like I said, eventually we may be expecting a breakout to the downside. Because if you check most of the JPY pairs, generally they are bearish. But then that doesn't mean this one might still have some bullish movement before the bearish. And this is the 15 minutes. It's trying to form a double bottom pattern. If price breaks out above the neckline, then we'll see that retracement that I mentioned. So we have a slight bullish retracement on the GBP JPY, pending any other market direction afterwards. All right, that'll be the end of the analysis session. Trade with all caution and enjoy the rest of the day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Have a good